You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
Hello and welcome to episode 310 of the Soul Forge podcast.
Welcome to the Soul Forge, a place of silent mystery, quiet contemplation, and outright mayhem. Join your host, Sean Vanderloo, as he guides you through the adventures of living. Together, we'll talk about life and love, sex and dating, joy and heartache, memories and loss, and so much more. Don't worry, it's not nearly as pretentious as it sounds. Get ready for life, the universe, and everything on the Soul Forge.
Hey everybody, it's Sean,
And Leah.
and we're here to welcome you to a brand new year,
Yes.
2024.
Right. We rang in the new year last night.
Well, you're stuffed up and sick.
That's right.
We went to bed early,
We did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
It was not, there was no celebrations around here.
there was not. You're out of commission. Your sinuses are all messed up.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty stuffed up.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that'll come out on the recording. I'm sure they'll hear it in your voice.
Probably.
Yes. But this episode here marks a momentous occasion.
Okay.
It's 10 years of Sean podcasting.
Wow.
Yes.
So let's go back to the beginning. What made you want to podcast?
Well, that's a very good question. And it's not even scripted or anything. So that's perfect that you asked that.
Okay.
Okay. So in 2012, I got a secondhand iPod.
Okay.
And I was delivering the mail. And a coworker said, I listen to podcasts all day while I'm delivering. I'm like, what the hell's a podcast? So I started finding some. And of course, I'm into Star Trek. So I started listening to Star Trek podcasts and other things like that.
Right.
And so after about doing that for a year, I was like, you know what? I got things to say. I bet I could do a podcast.
Perfect.
So I asked my wife if she would be my co-host.
Okay.
And on the 1st or 2nd of January 2014, we released the first episode of the Rusted Robot podcast.
Hi, this is Admiral Adama, Battlestar Galactica, saying you're listening to the Rusted Robot podcast. Think about it.
There we go.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. So this episode here is a celebration of the decade. A decade of desperation, a decade of delight, a decade of decadence, a decade of determination, all kinds of different things.
Right. So why did you feel the need for a co-host?
I listened to so many different ones, and people who did a solo often weren't as dynamic.
Okay.
So I wanted a decade of dynamism? I don't know. I wasn't thinking a decade anyway. I'm just making stuff up now.
All right.
But feedback, back and forth.
Okay.
Like I've done the Soul Forge here quite a bit, but just by myself. And it's like you're talking to yourself in an empty room, and you only have your own thoughts. But if there's somebody else, you can bounce back and forth off each other.
That's very true. Yeah.
And everybody has different interests, so it's more various.
That makes sense.
Yep.
That makes sense.
Yep. So her and I, we did that. We ended up doing what I'll say 90 episodes together, but it wasn't actually a full 90 because she wasn't always there. And around episode, I'm going to say 70-ish or so, we split up.
Right.
And we tried to keep it going. So I got different co-hosts and whatnot. But by September of 2015, her and I were done podcasting together. That was it.
Okay.
So I took a break for 4 months, and I got my friend Josh to be a co-host.
Okay.
And he introduced me to D&D, Dungeons and Dragons, and all that good stuff.
Great.
And his wife and her sister owned the comic book store in Timmins.
Okay.
So after 4 months, we retooled, and for the first 10 episodes, at the beginning of every episode, I would say something like, Bridget wanted to be here, but... And then I would say some kind of sci-fi reason for her not being there. And on episode 100, I said she wanted to be here, but she died in the Death Star explosion or something.
Oh.
I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was always something. And then we never really mentioned her again, because that was the end of that. Hello, and welcome to the Rusted Robot Podcast for 2016. This is going to be episode 91. At long last, we are back. It's a bit of a different format. I'm your regular host, Sean, and we have a bit of a round table discussion today. Bridget can't be here because she's stuck in a trash compactor on a detention level. So here we are, episode 92. Bridget can't be here because she went into Toshi Station to pick up power converters. Bridget wanted to be here for this episode, but of course she couldn't. It's her weekend to work at the Mines of Moria, so we're just going to have to go on without her. This is episode 94. It's your ever-present host, Sean, and joining me today is Luke and Josh and Kitty. Bridget wanted to be here this week, but unfortunately I froze her in carbonite, and we have placed her in the wall of the back room of Jump City.
229 Pine Street, South Timmins.
Maple Leaf knows that you're busy. You have a busy life. You have to update your Facebook status, your Twitter, and your Snapchat. You have things to do. You're a busy person. That's why Maple Leaf has created new pre-chewables. You have a busy life. You don't have time to eat. That's why, with Maple Leaf pre-chewables, you just open up the vacuum-sealed package and just swallow. It's already been chewed for you. Maple Leaf. This is the future we were promised. So welcome to episode 96 of the Rusted Robot Podcast. I'm your regular, ever-present host, Sean Vanderman, and with me today we have Luke and Josh. How are you guys doing?
Terrible. I have to go into work today because of that stupid snowstorm.
Epically awesome. It's my day off.
All right, so, okay. Bridget was going to be here. She just left, though. She had to take out a shield generator on the forest moon of Endor. We wish her luck. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Rusted Robot Podcast, episode 100.
Yay! 100! Woo! 10 square!
Can you believe it, guys? 100 episodes of the Rusted Robot Podcast.
Yes, I can. I listened to all 100.
Yes, you did.
Well, all 99.
Well, yeah, true.
Well, we're making 100 right
right,
now.
yeah.
You
Plus,
can't really
plus the
listen to it.
supplementals.
Well, yes, but they're not podcasts. They're supplemental.
that's
They
true.
don't count in the prime stream of numbers.
You're right. They don't.
Or else it'll just be episode like 108.
I think this would be 112 because I did some updates and some other things.
Yeah.
But anyway, here we are with me, Sean, and Josh, and Luke and Dan. And Bridget wanted to be here, but she's on a super secret spy mission to get plans for the Death Star, so she won't be here this week.
Okay. All right.
Yep. 2014. That was a good year because we went to Fan Expo in Toronto. Mm-hmm. Who's texting you there?
It's my cousin. I'm gonna let me turn this down and turn it to silent. Okay.
Okay.
There we go.
All right. So we went to Fan Expo, and I guess longtime listeners would probably remember better than I do because that's just my life. I don't remember everything that happened.
Yeah, especially the last 10 years.
Yes, and I know our good buddy Richard from Australia has been listening almost since the beginning, I believe. And he not always, but often comments on the episode links and whatever, so it's always good to get his perspective. Richard from Australia, or we had a running joke for a while, he was Down Under Dick.
Okay.
Or Dick Down Under.
Dick Down Under.
Yeah.
All right.
So that was the whole thing on the Rusted Robot.
Great.
So Josh and I and his wife Kitty and sometimes some other people would co-host the show.
Okay.
And we would often do it after a game of Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay. So you would play Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
Okay.
He introduced me to it because I'd never played before.
All right.
So I learned that. Did you ever listen to any of those episodes? Probably not, eh?
Not the ones involving Dungeons and Dragons or anything like that. I did listen to some of them where you guys talked about episode 69, for instance, when you talked about sex. And,
Oh, that was on Soulforge, not Rusted Robot.
right. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, you probably never listened to any Rusted Robot because I think I closed that down before I met you.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because copyright issues and whatever. So after about 7 years, that ended.
Okay.
It was a decade of desperation because it was not always easy during COVID to get together. So
Yeah.
I always wanted to get the podcast going, make sure it came out every week on Sunday.
Right.
And it wasn't always easy to do that.
No, it's still not always easy to do that.
No. Now, this is supposed to come out every Thursday, but it hasn't been since I started my new route.
Yeah, it's been very difficult for you that way because of your route and so many changes going on for you.
I think that's the cat. I don't know if the microphone picked that up, but
Probably.
the cat's into tuna cans.
Yep.
But yeah, lots of changes. So when I started, I was living 10 years ago on Bob's Lake Drive with her in the house that she grew up in.
Right.
And then in 2015, I moved to Grundy Road in Schumacher.
Okay.
Kept it going.
Okay.
And then after that marriage fell apart, it was a decade of, I wouldn't say a whole decade, I just like saying decade now because it's been 10
Barely.
years, searching for the Bridget replacement.
Right.
And how did that work out?
I don't know. How did it work out?
Not very well.
Apparently not.
Anybody who has been listening for the whole 10 years knows the ups and downs I've gone through and the trials and tribulations and all that kind of fun stuff and the stupid things I've done for love.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I guess we all do stupid things for love.
we all do stupid things for love.
Is it love or sex?
I think it's love and belonging. Yeah.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Yes.
So lots of adventures for you, though.
Lots.
You had brothers on for a couple of episodes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, Robin and my mom.
Hi, thanks for calling. You've reached 759-4628. Sorry we can't come to the phone, but we'll call you back. Thanks. Have a great day.
When the Rusted Robot podcast first started, would often listen to it together.
Nice.
Yeah. And then in 2014, in what was it? It was March 31st, she passed away. And that was actually Bridget's birthday.
Okay.
And that was pretty much the start of the end for her and I.
Right.
Because, well, she wasn't very sympathetic. Although she did help me a lot during that first week.
Right.
So, but then a couple months later, her parents split up and she wanted all the sympathy and I just couldn't give it to her.
Right.
So, you know.
Because you were still dealing with
Of course.
what you had
Yeah.
going through.
Devastation.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Shiro, that's enough with the can. I think you got everything out of it. She's relentless.
She is, definitely.
Yes. So lived on Bob's Lake Drive, then moved to Grundy, then moved to a house with a girl on Croatia.
Right.
And then when that relationship didn't work out, I moved to Waterloo.
Yes.
And then after Waterloo, I moved in with Julie on, what the hell street was that? Martin Street. And then I moved to the Sioux.
Right.
Back in, what was it? It was April of 2022.
With Brother Curtis?
Yes, moved in with Brother Curtis. Started hanging out with friends. Met you through our mutual friend Amanda.
Yes.
And we went yard sailing. And we noticed each other right away, but neither one of us said anything.
That's right, yeah.
Yes. Yes, because, of course, I was being pursued by Melissa.
Yeah, and I was sort of going through finding myself again after being in a relationship for many, many years. A 17-year relationship. So I kind of had to get myself I didn't want to jump headfirst into something else either.
No, you wanted to find out who you were.
Yep.
Which is important.
I think so, yeah. After many years of being with somebody, it's time to take that step back and figure out who you are. I feel, at least, that I'm a pretty independent person.
I'd say so.
I can be. Anyway.
And you found yourself.
I did. I found myself. I have a son who's, 19 years old, and he's not here. Well, he's going to be 19 in February, but he's not here right now. He's more starting to live his own life.
He really is,
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Actually, our sons haven't met yet.
No.
Bishop just turned 18 in December, and Wyatt will be 19 in February. Like you said. So they seem similar in a lot of ways.
Yes. Yes, but my son is very good friends with your nephew.
Yes, my brother Curtis's son.
Yes.
Nate. Yes, that's right.
They're very good friends.
They are. They're very close. Before we move on, let's play a promo for another podcast right here on the ESO Network.
Okay.
Hi, this is Siri. I would never ever listen to the Earth Station 1 podcast. Who the heck says howdy anyway? Why don't you listen to Chris Hardwick instead? I can get you his information. The Nerdist is everywhere anyway, haha. That was a joke. The Earth Station 1 podcast. It's time to let your inner geek out to play. You can find them at www.earthstation1.com or up on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, or wherever fine podcasts are found. Peace, and we're done.
Okay, that was a great podcast promo.
That was a great podcast promo.
It certainly was.
Yeah.
It certainly was.
We'll have to go and listen to some of those episodes.
And, here's another cat coming to say hello. Hi, Daffy. It's the decade of Daffy.
The decade of Daffy.
Yes, decade of desperation, decade of decadence, decade of delight.
She's very relentless in wanting attention, isn't she?
Yes. Yeah. She's very hands-on.
Yep.
Always pawing at you to pet her. So
things to come for you.
Things to come, but what else have I done in the last 10 years?
Well, yeah, I mean, you had some firsts as well.
I did.
Yes.
What did I do?
Didn't you go to Disney for the first time?
I went to Disney for the first time.
You did.
I drove across part of the country with my brother Curtis and our dad.
Yeah.
In 2019, we went out to Peggy's Cove. We went through Vermont and New York and stopped in Bangor, Maine, where we broke down. We didn't get to meet Stephen King though.
Oh darn.
Yeah, but I'd never been out to the East Coast, so that was cool. Also that year, drove, what was it, like 4,400 kilometers there and back to Atlanta, Georgia, to go to Dragon Con, and I got to meet Mike and Judy. And Mike, of course, is the head of the ESO Network.
Right.
And I met a bunch of other ESO Network folk.
Excellent.
So that was cool.
That's good.
Big road trip.
Nice.
22 hours of driving there and 22 hours back. That was a lot.
Sounds like a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was a lot.
And then you went to, was it Milwaukee?
Oh,
With
that was
Dakota?
That was last year.
Yeah.
Took Dakota to see and live with her fiance,
Right.
Luke, and they got married this past year in September. And I think you and I are planning a trip out there this coming Easter.
Yep, we're hoping to head out there.
Yep. So lots of things have happened in the last year. For 10 years, I started collecting Hot Wheels. I started prepping for the end of the world.
Now, why did you feel that was necessary?
I was depressed.
Yep.
So when I get depressed, I get a new obsession.
Yes.
And they come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
For no reason that I can think of.
Okay.
There might be a reason, but I don't know what it is.
Okay.
So what was it? 2021 is when I started the prepping thing.
Okay.
Yeah. And then 2023 was the Hot Wheel thing.
Yep.
And I'm sure there was probably other little micro obsessions too along the
Probably.
way.
Yeah.
Not that I can remember, but in the last year or so, that's when I realized, oh, depression leads to obsession.
It certainly does.
Yeah. I don't know if that's that way for everybody, but it certainly was for me.
Seems like it is for you anyways.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And I've always been a collector of things.
Uh-huh.
Although the last 5, 6, 7 years, I've cut back a tremendous amount.
Okay.
Sold a lot of stuff.
Good.
Yeah. Still have a lot to go,
Yep.
but
You'll get there.
I will get there. Oh, I also bought a building in Timmins there a few years back
Yes.
in the hopes of opening up my own toy store. But
That didn't work out.
that didn't work out due to depression and other things, and I moved back here.
Right. So that building sold?
It sold in December.
Yep.
So other than my son, I have no connections left to Timmins.
Right.
My son and friends, obviously, that I've made over the last 19 years that I live there.
Right.
But no financial connections.
No.
Which is awesome.
Excellent.
Yep, it's all right here.
It is.
Yes. So that's good.
Yep.
I've been spending a lot of time with Dad doing stuff and helping him clean up his yard.
Yeah.
He's been wanting to sell things and get rid of stuff.
That's good.
Yeah, because he's like, you know what? I'm old enough that I don't need this stuff anymore. So that it's hard for him because he can make use out of everything.
Of course.
So I was there with Wyatt yesterday, and we were throwing out an old cabinet, and he's like, I don't think you're the right person to help me. And I'm like, oh, why is that? He's like, see those little latches? That's worth money. We could repurpose those. And I had to tell him, I'm like, I know that's true, but if we stop and save everything, it's going to take 10 times longer to clean this place out.
Of course. Yeah.
So he's like, okay.
Yes. So you kind of have to take the good with the bad and figure out what is more important and what is not.
You know, you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and
there you have the facts of life.
It's true.
Absolutely.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what else happened for you in the last 10 years? Anything exciting?
The last 10 years? No, not really. I wouldn't say exciting. I mean, for myself in 2000 and, oh my God, I don't even know.
It was a few years ago?
It was many years ago that I decided to go back to nursing school and to college, because I did not go to college outside of high school. So, you know, I made that change in my life, and I had children, and I had many surgeries that, you know, I nearly lost my life twice. So that was sort of a look back on that. And then, of course, I got separated from my second husband. My first husband unfortunately passed away in 2021, so that was quite the shock.
I bet it was.
It was a big change. Yeah, big change. Not that, you know, he and I had we had our differences, but we had sort of mended those fences before he passed away, which was great, and I'm very thankful for that. And, you know, I do a lot of traveling and, you know, learned to be on my own, be independent, and learned how to pick myself up off of, you know, a terrible situation and keep moving forward.
And then this guy comes along.
And then you come along.
And how's that working out?
Well, apparently I'm co-hosting a podcast now. So
It seems that way, doesn't it?
It seems so.
How did that happen?
I don't know. I get sucked into these things.
Yeah. But podcasting is great.
Yeah.
Because if I think about the last 10 years and the podcasts that I've been on and the episodes and the people that I've met,
Yep.
like there was 330 some episodes of Rusted Robot.
Right.
Paul and I, my co-host on the, what am I doing with him right now? Him and Dan?
Cosmic Pizza?
Cosmic Pizza and the Epsilon 3 podcast.
Yes.
But in 2015 and 2016, Paul and I did a podcast together called the Sci-Fi Waffle Podcast.
Right.
That was about 40 episodes.
Oh, nice.
I think we've done 100 episodes of Cosmic Pizza and about 100 of of Epsilon 3 where we rewatch Babylon 5. So, and this is episode 310.
Right.
So that's like 800 episodes.
Another thing that you actually did do this in the past 10 years is you met Paul in person.
Yes, he came to the Sioux last year with his wife.
Yeah.
So I got to meet Paul in this past year as well when we went to Disney, but also in 2019 in DragonCon. I met Jarman in real life.
Yes.
So all the people that I've met either online or in real life due to podcasting, I can't even name them all, but some of them are Paul and Dan and Jarman and Steve and Rick, Richard from Australia, who I haven't actually met, but there are so many people out there, and I'm probably forgetting a million of them.
Right.
But it's so great. Like the worldly connections that you make.
Yeah. Looking back on it, you've made a lot of good connections.
Yep. Sometimes I think if I had never started a podcast, where would I be right now?
That's a very good question.
Who are these people that I wouldn't have met?
Right.
What would life be like?
Yeah.
What would I have been doing with all my spare time instead of podcasting?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Probably collecting more Hot Wheels.
Action figures and Hot Wheels and Hallmark ornaments and you name it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that it's been a decade of a lot.
A lot, yes. Changes.
Yeah.
Changes to come. So we just had Christmas too.
We did have Christmas.
And how did that go for you? Was Santa good to you?
Santa was good. I got Patrick Stewart's autobiography.
Yeah.
And some Star Trek Hallmark ornaments.
Yeah.
And I got an R2-D2 Sensi warmer.
Yes.
And when you plug it in, you get a holographic Leia.
Yes.
So how cool is that?
Projected on the wall.
That's
Absolutely.
right. That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And
it's very cool.
Did you get a lot of good stuff?
I did. I got a lot of good stuff. I got a lot of bath and beauty products that I enjoy. I got chocolates. I got a video game for my Nintendo Switch, which is something else that I enjoy doing.
Didn't you get a Hallmark ornament?
I did. I did get a Hallmark ornament. It's on the tree. It's over there.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. I got the 100 years of Disney, Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some knitting stuff.
I did. I got some crocheting hooks, light up ones, and I got some Tunisian hooks, which is awesome. And I'm so looking forward to using them. Unfortunately, I'm just not feeling well.
No.
Feeling very run down. And I have probably the common cold is what I've got. It's very sinusy and whatever. And that's just, I mean, the weather has been so weird that I'm surprised that I didn't get this sooner, to be quite honest. Usually I get a cold maybe once a year.
Yeah.
So
and as we're recording this, it's January 1st at about 2:00 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And looking outside, it's green grass everywhere.
Yeah.
With a few little piles of snow that haven't melted yet.
Yeah.
But speaking of podcasting, that's a text from Jason. He's been on the Soul Forge before.
Excellent.
I think he was on that sex one, episode 69, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Yep. So he's probably wishing me a happy new year.
Well, that's nice.
But looking forward in the future, what do we have coming up?
Well, before we check that, really quick, there was actually something done that has never been done before on the Soul Forge as well when we were in Disney in September, and that was we went live.
We did go live.
We went live.
That's true.
Yeah.
People could have looked at us on the Facebook page.
Yes, absolutely. And I think, coming up, we're going to do a few more of those things, or at least posting some videos.
Yes, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's right.
So what's coming up for us?
Well, we have a cruise in
March.
We have a wedding in May.
Who's getting married?
I think it's us.
We are?
Yeah.
Oh!
Surprise.
Surprise!
Yeah.
Yes, we are getting married.
Yeah. May the 4th.
May the 4th be with you.
Sean and Leah, not Han and Leia.
Right?
Yeah. That's us. And do we have anything else planned for the year?
Well, April, we're planning possibly going
To see Dakota.
To see Dakota.
That's right.
And then we're really not too sure because you haven't booked your vacation time yet.
No, that's up in the air still. Waiting for that.
Little up in the air.
Yeah, but in 2025, we're supposed to go across the seas and stay with Paul and Linda. So that'll be fun.
Spend some time with them.
Yes.
Doing the touristy stuff.
And I know Dan lives about 2.5 hours away, so we'll have to make a trip down to see him.
Absolutely.
Or up to see him or across. I don't know what it is. I've never been over there.
Are you going to attempt to drive?
On the other side of the road?
Yeah.
Well, as part of my post office training, I was trained in a right-hand drive vehicle.
Nice.
Never on the other side of the road, mind you, but I'm sure it can't be that difficult.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
We'll
see. We'll see how that goes.
We'll see how that goes, for sure. Yeah, and we'll have to do some little videos, maybe some lives, see if we can, get the Facebook page a little more engaged.
That would be nice. I've been trying for a decade to get people engaged in my podcast and all that stuff. So it's been a decade of desperation.
Absolutely.
And determinism.
You're just all about the D's today, aren't
All
you?
about the D's.
All about the D's.
Yep.
Right.
And there's a joke there that I'm not going to make.
Okay.
So anyways.
But we are looking forward to the future.
We definitely are. Even though a lot of my relationships have not worked out in the past, this one feels different.
Does it?
It does.
How?
I don't know if I can explain it.
Okay.
It's a certain level of comfort.
Yeah.
You know what? There was one episode I did of the Rusted Robot that was called "Don't Watch Terminator with French Girls."
Right.
Because there was 2 French girls that I watched Terminator with, and a few weeks later we broke up. I made you and I watch some Terminator last week.
Yes.
So you're French, or at least you can speak French.
Yes.
So this is the ultimate test.
Oh, well.
Because if it was on the Rusted Robot podcast, it's got to be true.
Of course.
Yes.
Yes.
It couldn't have been because I was still reeling from the breakup of my marriage or anything.
No. Not at all.
No. So it's Terminator. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So that's about it.
We watched Terminator 1 and 2
We
so
did.
far.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And
There's how many? 6?
There's 6, and I think there's a new one coming out this year.
Great.
So yeah.
Fantastic.
But anyway, I guess that's basically a reminiscence, a look back.
A look back.
A look back at the last 10 years of things that I've done, that you've done, that we've learned, things to come.
Yeah.
I would love for our listeners to send us feedback from time to time.
Absolutely.
soulforgepodcast@gmail.com.
Or they can just post on the Facebook page.
Do that. What else can they do?
They could share, and
subscribe
to the Facebook page.
Yes. Yeah. And if you look up Rusted Robot Toys on YouTube, you can find me there. Rusted Robot Toys on Etsy is my TikTok handle.
Okay.
You can go to Rusted Robot Toys on Etsy if you want to buy some stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But basically, this is a new year. It's a new decade.
Yeah.
And we'll just have to see what the adventure holds.
Holds.
Yeah.
Yeah. What does the future hold for
What
us?
does the future hold for us? Yes, that's right.
Yeah. So are you committing yourself to 10 more years of the Soul Forge?
I don't promise.
No.
I don't make promises like that.
No.
I don't know. What I would like to do, though, is get it a little bit more back on its regular schedule.
Yes.
It's just got to get through this winter and got to not be so frickin' tired all the time.
Oh,
my knees have never been more sore than this, and I just don't have the energy to do it.
Right.
So it's sporadic, and it will be for a little bit longer, but hopefully we can get things back on track by the spring.
Absolutely. That would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So we'll just have to see how that goes.
Absolutely.
So, listeners, thanks for coming down the yellow brick road of memories. We hope you'll stick around and maybe tell your friends about the podcast, and we'll continue on into the future together. But until next time, remember, approach the new year with resolve to find the opportunities hidden in each new day.
My name is Optimus Prime.
Hello, I am C-3PO, Human Cyborg Relations.
I am Locutus of Borg.
You're like a machine underneath, right? But sort of alive outside?
I'm a cybernetic organism, living tissue over a metal endoskeleton.
I'm an android.
These aren't the droids we're looking for.
Counterfeit, facsimile, replica.
We need some sort of robot. Ah, crap! I'm some sort of robot.
Welcome to the first episode of the Rusted Robot Podcast.
Today is January 1st, 2014, so Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year. We are your hosts of the Rusted Robot Podcast, Sean.
And Bridget Vanderloo.
You can follow the podcast on Twitter at The Rusted Robot, or email the show at therustedrobot@gmail.com.
Soon we'll have a presence on the web at therustedrobot.com dedicated site.
And don't forget to leave us a nice review of the cast at the iTunes Store.
Very nice. So what's next?
Well, we should probably tell the listeners a little bit about what the show is going to be about, what it's going to be discussing, maybe a little bit about ourselves.
All right, so let's start a little bit about ourselves.
Okay.
I say ourselves. You tell me about yourself, Sean Vanderloo.
Well, Sean is 37 years old. He's a mailman.
By trade?
By trade, yes, he is. Yes, he is. And it's really cold out right now. Today was minus 38 degrees Celsius, so I'm glad it was a holiday.
It was a good day to be off.
It was a great day to be off.
Not looking forward to tomorrow.
Definitely not. But it's a great day to start the podcast.
Yes.
It is. So what else can I tell you about myself? 37 years old. I'm a big collector. I've been a collector pretty much all my life. Earliest memories of collecting, anything, you name it, and I probably had it at one time or another.
So you're the collector.
I am the collector.
Of what exactly?
Right now, I'm...
Pennies?
Pennies?
Stamps?
Stamps. You know what? I collected that.
Did you?
I did. Never seriously. Just, I always collected something.
Right.
Right now, I'm into statues, busts, higher-end action figures.
Yes, I see them.
You
scattered throughout the entire house.
They are scattered.
The statues, the busts.
You name it.
What else?
What else? Well, you and I have recently started collecting vinyl records.
That's true.
Laser discs.
That's true.
What else? The garage is absolutely jam-packed full of everything I've collected over the last 20-odd years.
What started the geek collecting?
What started it?
Geek collecting.
I would have to say probably when, about 1992, me and my friend Andrew were big Next Generation fans, and they started with the Playmates action figures. And he started collecting, so I started collecting, and I had to have more than him.
That's just how it started.
That's how it really got bad, yes. So it started with action figures.
What kind of action figures exactly?
Of the characters.
Yeah.
You know, like Picard in his uniforms and Data and all the characters that I could find.
So Next Gen Star Trek was...
That was the big thing.
The beast that started it all.
You got it.
Nice.
Definitely.
Nice.
And then I branched out to Hallmark ornaments, all the Star Trek ones, probably 1993, because he got the 92 shuttle, so I had to follow up next year with it.
Up them a little.
I did. And I've pretty much got every single one. I'm missing maybe 4 or 5.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about you, Bridget. What can you tell the...
What about Bridget? I'm the gamer.
You are.
So you and I have a shared love of movies.
Yes, we do.
And TV, sci-fi, mainly sci-fi genre.
Mainly.
Way scattered. We have a scattered kind of like that we
do. We were watching Next Gen on Netflix. We were going through the whole series.
Before they canceled it.
Well, before they took it off the Netflix queue, yeah, for some reason.
Right.
Yeah.
Which upset us very much.
It did.
Down to the core.
Right. So we've started on Doctor Who.
Yes, and hopefully that lasts for a little while. Hopefully we can ride that train right through to the end.
Mm-hmm,
on Netflix.
On regular cable, we've started watching Almost Human with Carl Urban.
Which it took us a bit. We decided we like it.
I think we do.
So there'll probably be a little bit of that thrown into the podcast episodes that we like here and there.
Yeah.
That's nice and futuristic. We like it. We like our androids.
We do.
We definitely do.
Robots and cyborgs and androids, oh my.
So I'm the gamer.
You're the gamer.
34, started gaming. We had, as children, TRS-80. So this was before, this was on the ColecoVision Atari phase. Our version was TRS-80. You had to put in about 12 hours of code just to play a little bit of Pong.
Never even heard of it.
The TRS-80?
Never.
It was a keyboard, and I'm pretty sure you connected to some shitty screen. Can you say shitty?
You can say this is our podcast. We can say shitty.
We can say shitty.
We certainly can.
We won't go too far.
We won't say it often.
Right.
This is a family show.
That's right.
Yes, it is.
For the kids.
It's for the children.
It's for the kids.
You got it.
Right. So that's where it started, and then the NES came out, and my brother and I actually debated on whether or not we got the NES the year of release or whether or not it was a few years later. But regardless, it was early in the days, and what really started it was the release of the Zelda franchise. The gold cases, they got me.
You're huge into Zelda.
They've got me ever since. Yes, I am.
What did we just get you for Christmas?
The new Triforce XL 3DS, which is really nice.
It is.
And spectacular. As well as the collector set of Legend of Zelda manga books, which are very good. It's a nice addition if you're a fan of the franchise.
You've gone through them pretty quickly.
Which we'll talk about in future shows. There's been a lot of Zelda, but there's other games as well.
There is.
Specific ones. I'm a specific fan, but a lot of Zelda stuff. So that's about me. And then we share the TV, and
this is true.
The geekdom world is ours to take by storm.
Lots of geekery. Yeah. So that's what we'll be discussing each week on the Rusted Robot podcast. Sci-fi, fantasy, gaming, anything else that suits our fancy, really.
Yes.
The world of geekery.
That's right.
We were going to call the podcast The World of Geekery.
Yes.
But we decided The Rusted Robot.
So why the Rusted Robot, Sean? Where does this come from, the Rusted Robot?
That's a very good question, Bridget. Years upon years ago, I wanted to open up a collectible toy store. And down in the Toronto and Ottawa area, there is a comic book collectibles store, and they call themselves the Silver Snail. So I like
heard of the Silver Snail.
Right.
Visited a few.
We have. And I liked the alliteration in the title, Silver Snail, and it was kind of odd sounding, so I thought, you know what, let's do something vintage and sci-fi at the same time. So I was thinking, they're SS, Silver Snail, let's do something RR, Rusted Robot. So it's rusted, it's kind of vintage, kind of old, we like that. The robot, that's kind of futuristic, but that's basically
it.
Well,
here it is. The kicker is that a robot is cool to everyone. No matter what, you're a geek, you're a non-geek, you're hard-pressed to find someone that says, robots, that's stupid.
Everybody loves a robot.
Everybody loves a good robot.
Androids.
Cyborgs. They're all good.
You've got C-3PO, R2-D2, the Terminator, Data, you name it.
That's right. So then we may throw in a few sounds of bots along the way.
That's right. As soon as we figure out this whole podcasting software thing, we're going to get some bumpers and some music and so on and so forth.
We're just a couple regular Joes up in the north.
That's right.
That really love the geekery world.
We do. And Timmins, where we live, is the land that culture forgot. So we have to create our own.
It's a wasteland.
It is a cultural wasteland.
And so on occasion we take trips down south.
Anywhere we can get away from here.
Yeah, and we visit geek stores and try to soak in as much the world of geek as we possibly can, despite the fact that we live
in a wasteland.
That's right.
Yep, so that's what we do. We like to style ourselves as pickers.
Geek pickers.
Geek pickers. Yeah, anything that's cool that we like. Yeah, we're silly, but we don't care.
That's right.
We like our stuff.
Some even call us Vanderloony.
Some of them do.
It's been known to have been said from time to time.
I've heard it once or twice.
And me too.
Yes.
Me too.
Right.
So that's going to be the show. It's going to be exciting stuff. We're going to have friends here and there that are on. They're going to come on and discuss a few things that they like in the geek world as well. Maybe a movie that we see with them from time to time.
Renee can probably come over and discuss his love of Godzilla.
There will be a Renee.
Oh, definitely.
There will be an appearance of Renee at some point.
I think so.
It's a matter of when.
Whenever. He's got kids.
That's true.
So many kids.
But podcast world, that we can do that over different it doesn't have to be face-to-face, so...
We can Skype him over.
I'm going to Skype him over.
We can do whatever.
Get him on the show.
We will get him on the show eventually.
Our show.
Well, he has to create our website because he knows about that stuff.
So that'll be courtesy of Renee.
Exactly.
And he'll make an appearance on the Rusted Robot show podcast.
That's right. So, we hope you have found our little, what would you call this, introductory podcast, I guess?
Sure.
The first of the show.
Clip.
Episode 1. Not as bad as the Phantom Menace, I hope. But anyway, we're the Rusted Robot at gmail.com. We're at the Rusted Robot on Twitter. We're creating a Facebook group, just the Rusted Robot, of course. And eventually we'll have a website up and running. So
relatively soon. That's the hope.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
Yep. So I hope you enjoyed the show, and it'll be longer. We're going to try to go once a week if we can. We have kids too, so it's hard to get a good recording session going, but we'll do what we can.
On occasion, you may hear them in the background.
That's right.
It depends.
Yeah, they're gamers.
That's true. They're hardcore gamers.
Maybe we'll get them on the show. We don't know.
You never know. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this was our first show, everybody. Don't forget to leave an iTunes review. Follow us on all those different medias.
Look forward to the surprises in the future that will come starting in 2014.
That's right. It's a good year. We're looking forward to it.
Sayonara.
Thank you, everybody.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping at the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.